Okay, are we ready? We're ready. Let's go. Okay. Wait. Alright, boom. X. Okay, ahoy gamers, Flor Geneva here. A few days ago during a live stream, I reacted to the Hazbin Hotel pilot that at the time has been out for like 50 minutes, I think. And needless to say, the stream was a fucking disaster. About halfway through the reaction, OBS began dropping the frame rate from 60 frames per second to a grand 1, and then the stream went offline altogether for a while. I had to spend like 15 to 20 minutes trying to save it from a case of clinical diff. And by the time I finished watching the pilot, I was so brain dead that I couldn't summarize my own fucking thoughts. 90% of what I said was basically bruh, epic cringe. The stream, for some reason, started gaining views very fast. So a lot of people began seeing it, and they didn't really like my reaction. You know, they didn't really like how my reaction and my opinion was basically just bruh. And since it's pretty I feel like it's possible for the video to become my most viewed video, because it's been, what, 3-4 days? And Hazbin Hotel is still at the top of the Twitter trending page. Like, I've never seen anything like that. So, you know, it's not going away anytime soon. So I should probably make a video that explains my opinion, you know, in a way, make like a review. So yeah, just a heads up, this is all of this, and the background, my hat, Oscar, yeah, by the way, his name is Oscar, this cup right here, everything in this video is my opinion, right? You are allowed to have your own opinion, and I'm not going to force my opinion on you. If you don't want to hear my opinion, then, you know, you can just close the video, so keep that in mind. It's just that there's been a lot of toxic discussions surrounding the show, mostly with people just doing takes and being like, oh, the show is terrible, you shouldn't like it, or oh, the show is amazing, you should support it, you know. So this is just my opinion, alright? It can change with time, I guess, but as of now, this is what I think, and if you're interested in hearing what I think, then well, here you go. If you aren't, then well, I guess leave. The door is that way. Alright, so let's go, I guess. Now I haven't been keeping up with the project like at all. My first and last encounter was last year when the trailer released, and I quickly forgot about it because I had my own projects to work on. Most of them were game related, you know, programming and level design, because I'm anything but an animator, to be honest. And my initial reaction to the pilot was, to the trailer of the pilot was that, oh, it looks cool, but I really doubt it will release, you know, because even from my own personal experience from these projects I'm talking about, a lot of things usually don't go anywhere. There have been a lot of less ambiguous projects that went on a never-ending hiatus, with their creators saying that, oh, it's just on a hiatus, we'll update you, and then they just quietly cancel it, and you know, nobody cares anymore. So this one actually saw the light of day, and I'm surprised, you know. So it's already kind of, I know, you know, it doesn't really, for an average viewer, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make it better or worse, but for me, a person who, you know, worked on similar projects, I'd say it's already a plus, you know, and already made my opinion a bit more positive leaning, because, you know, I understand they had to go through hell, and they went through hell, and, you know, they came out of the other side, so, yeah. Let's start with the concept and the setting. Hell, fire, flames, do. So, I find it highly interesting. I think it's definitely not something everyone would or could do, you know. It sounds a bit edgy, You know, you think that every single emo kid has written a fanfic about hell in high school, you know, so it seems like something that everyone could do, but at the same time, it doesn't really, you know, people aren't that brave to take this kind of setting and put it in a media, I feel like, especially when it's animation, because, yeah, let's be honest, okay, so let's be honest, animation is usually associated with kids. I'm not saying that all cartoons are for kids, that's stupid, but it is like that in the modern world, and modern animation is basically all about breaking that standard, like with Gravity Falls, where they just sneak a lot of dirty jokes past the censors, you know. That's basically what this age is all about. And this one isn't trying to be for kids at all, you know, because it has swearing and shit, but it's just it feels so honestly edgy. Like, it's I like it. I like the concept, you know. It's basically a rehab in hell. It's an absurd idea, more like a dark comedy type of idea. I like these ideas, you know, these ideas that are dark. They're, you know, fought by a lot of people, but not that many people want to realize that kind of thing because they feel it's too dark or too edgy, and here you go, just realize that. Because any idea can be realized in a good or a bad way, so yeah, I'd say it's good. You know, the way hell functions in this universe reminds me of a state under anarchy, like the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft, 2b2t. Yeah, honestly, it reminded me of that. I have a bunch of questions, like why do they have a king, Satan? You know, how do they have capitalism? How do they even have society when they have anarchism, when it's literal hell, you know? But I feel like that could be explored later on, though at the same time a pilot should explain how that works, so it's kind of problematic, but I wouldn't really call it bad, considering that they've already put a lot of detail into the backgrounds. For example, at the Hazbin Hotel, the windows on the doors, I don't know what to call them, like the glass things on the doors. I don't know what they're called in English, but they're like windows and they're colored. And they have apples on them, which is a reference to the fruit of knowledge, of good and evil, or what is it called, the forbidden fruit. You know, if you don't know, it's a biblical reference. So I feel like there would be a bunch of these scattered throughout the episodes, or should be, if the show will ever exist. So yeah, I'd say it's more good than bad. There are some details that aren't fully realized, but other details are fully realized, so I feel like they didn't not realize these details because they're just lazy or didn't think about it too much. I feel like they thought a lot about it, so it's just that they wanted to focus on something else, I guess, or just wanted to focus on the main story, and then the setting will come later. Anyway, overall it's good, and it's an important part of a show. However, this show, literally, like, my opinion of this show comes in two butts. So let's basically take this sentence and uncover it step by step. So let's do it. The concept and setting are good, but, and here comes the first but, the characters. I have a problem with them. A little problem, a little. Let's take the main force, the driving force of this franchise, Charlie. God. It took me 20 seconds to realize what her entire personality trait was. Simply because her voice, the way she acts and everything, it just reminded me of Star Butterfly. You know, some people might get angry at this, but as I said earlier, it's my opinion, and I personally just see Star in her. I see nothing. I see really nothing else. Yes, context is different. Some people argue that, oh, in that situation she wouldn't do this or she wouldn't do that. But personality-wise, yeah, he's basically feels to me like a clone of Star. For example, Radio Demon, Alistair. I think his name is Alistair, but I'll just call him the Radio Demon. He reminds me of Bill Cipher in a way. This menacing little fella who likes to joke around a bit, and he's all like, don't worry, I won't hurt you, but I'll definitely stab you in the neck at the end of the season. We all know that, you know. And the way you have to shake his hand to make a deal that you will never, that you can never cancel, you know. So basically, Charlie is Star, Radio Demon is Bill Cipher. There's also Husk, I think that's his name. He is a bit like Grunkle Stan. Or Rick from Rick and Morty, actually. I've been thinking about who he reminds me of the entire morning, and yeah, Rick from Rick and Morty. So yeah, and then there's also Angel Dust, Mr. X. Sex right here. He's the highlight of the show in my opinion. I'll touch more into him later because he connects to my later points. The second butt I talked about. He feels like this stereotypical, you know, like these characters that are self-aware, loved by the fans, and they're coincidentally voiced by the creator of the show. You know, these exist in a lot of different, you know, media forms. And I could say that, oh, they didn't steal a character, they just stole an entire type of a character, like an entire persona. But the thing is that I love these types of characters and I want to see more of them in cartoons, so it's not, I can't really say it's a bad thing. So yeah, Angel Dust definitely feels like one of the better, one of the more original, or like one of the more enjoyable characters. Everyone else has cool designs and cool ideas, but to me they just seem like this blend of, you know what it feels like? I forgot to mention this because I learned this just like yesterday. Someone told me. It's not mentioned in the plot, I think, but Charlie and her friend, what was her name? Reggie, I think. They're like gay for each other, I think. And yeah, pretty much LGBT and all of that, it's heavily tied into the show. There are a lot of different toxic discussions about that, actually. I think Maggie's supposed to be Latin. I'm sorry if I'm getting something wrong. That's just from what I heard. I think like some people are Latin, some are Asian. There are a lot of minorities there, you know. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing because I'm not a white supremacist. But to me, at least, the feel it has is that they were like, the creators, they were like, oh boy, let's like build Cypher and Sans, make them gay for each other, you know. So I'm for representation, you know. But it doesn't feel like it's on the level of like Robin from Stranger Things. It feels like it's more on a level of a fanfic. You know, there are fanfics that change characters' sexualities or races or stuff because they want to feel, the creators of these fanfics want to feel more related to the characters in a way. I think that's not really that uncommon. So, yeah, it just feels like, you know what it feels like? It feels like they took a bunch of popular characters, made them feel more relatable to the modern community, or to their community, I guess. It depends on, you know, what kind of people they are. And they put them in a sitcom, like a fanfic. It feels like a fanfic, right? The characters, most of them feel like they come from a fanfic, honestly. Their designs feel a bit like that too, like Husk, in a way. It sounds like, you know, it has this weird furry style to it, I guess. But it's not that, like, the designs themselves, some of them feel generic, some of them don't. So I'd say the characters are more of a con than a pro. There are some good things, like I said, the designs are fine, and Angel Dust is cool, but overall, in my opinion, they just feel like bland. Like they put like 7 different characters in there, and I already forgot half of their names, and I'm not sure what makes them good or bad. You know, they're either underdeveloped or they are literally just like copies of other characters. And people constantly say that, oh, it's a pilot. Yes, it is a pilot, but the whole point of a pilot is to tell what person's personality is, what a character's personality is. Here's the thing. There are pilots that are very different from the final product, and then there are pilots that are almost identical to the final product. Why? Because all of these changes happen afterwards. It's not that when the company or a bunch of people make a pilot, they leave a note that says like, oh, we'll fix this stuff later and this and this and this, and they send to the media. No, they don't. The pilot already has to establish everything, and then things that are re-established are re-established mostly because there are newer staff brought by the company that have different ideas. That's usually how it works. So yeah, some characters are underdeveloped and feel a bit generic, but the designs are fine, and Angel Dust is cool. So that's the first but. But then there's the second but that it makes everything more confusing. So let's start the sentence over. The setting and concept are good, but the characters are generic and underdeveloped, but the humor. Oh god, the humor. I have never seen so many gamer jokes in a cartoon. It's just like... by gamer jokes, I'm not referring only to sex jokes that Angel Dust makes. Overall, there are some sound effects and things, and you know, these little details that just feel like they come from a meme on Reddit or a meme on Twitter, you know, from r/dank memes. In fact, I feel like I heard a siren at one moment that was literally the same siren sound effect that I hear from Sao32 videos or Eric Funny, r/Eric Funny. So, and you know, there's these types of jokes that are like, they use cringy things, like, you know, they put Foxy Undertale, what am I saying? They put Sans Undertale, Foxy FNAF, make them Fortnite dance, add a cringy caption or something, and it is cringy, but it's funny because it's meant to be cringy, you know, like in that way. And this is what it feels like, except replace cringy with the unoriginal fanfic-like characters, and the part that makes it sound like it was intended is the humor. Because when you have these types of characters and you make them do these types of... I can't even explain these... Okay, gamer jokes. If you make these cringy characters do gamer jokes, that makes it feel like, at least to my brain, like that was intentional. If it was intentional, then it is actually fucking genius. What the fuck? Do I have to start no, I'm not going to start recording again. Fuck this shit. God. Okay, so... where was I? Fuck, no, I'm all lost. Okay, so... basically, I feel like it's genius if that was intentional, because what it does is that this... the humor section, it's a plus on its own because I laughed at the jokes, I found them entertaining. But it's also plus because what it does is that it basically crosses out the cons that the characters have. It makes it feel like they were underdeveloped for a reason. That was probably not the case, you know, because if it wasn't intentional, then I guess they were just lucky. But still, it makes the character problem a bit less vivid, and it makes the whole thing funnier and better, in my opinion. So that's basically the main focus of my review. However, in my on the stream, while I have tried to explain the sentence I just said, you know, the setting is cool, but the characters aren't original, but the humor is cool and makes the characters not cringy in a way, or just not seem that. But I haven't touched on animation and other stuff, so I guess we'll have to talk about that too. The animation, it's something that really pissed me off in the animation. There were two things. First, the animation itself, and second, the color palette. The problem with the color palette is that everything that's on the screen all the time is just different shades of red, white, and black. And when other colors like green or yellow, I forgot colors, like yellow or purple are shown, it feels like they have this filter that makes them closer to, you know, like pinkish white and things like that. It feels like every single frame is a different White Stripes cover. And I get it. Hell, you know, the color of fire, red, the color of ash, black and all that. I get it. It makes sense. However, the characters are also just these shades, and they don't stand out. If I take any scene, any frame, I put it far away or just add like a blur effect, and I show it to a person, I don't think that person is going to find where the characters are, because and you might show maybe some other cartoon, but if another cartoon also has that problem, then it's also bad. Characters, they should be seen, they should be up front, you should be able to see them clearly. So that is kind of one problem I had. Designs of the characters are cool, but they just blend in with the background. It's like I can't see them, and you know, that is basically my problem with the color palette. I just hope that if they ever finish this, then I just hope that they will work on it. Maybe not redesign the characters, because redesigning the characters, I mean, they can do that with some of the other minor characters, but you know, overall it's fine. The problem is that they just have to maybe change shades, or make them, how do I say this, make the shades brighter, while make the backgrounds a lot darker, or something like that. Basically, make them stand out. That's the main priority. And onto animation. The animation is a bit inconsistent. I feel like there was this one scene with the two reporters, where one reporter was drawn in a completely different art style. And I get it, there were several different animators, and it's hard to be consistent. I get it, they are a bunch of guys from YouTube who just randomly did this, you know, and they didn't have a big budget. I get it, but I feel like, again, as I said earlier, all of this altogether is already a big plus on its own. But everything else, I feel like I still have to critique it, so that I doubt the creators will see this. I think all of them already blocked me. But even then, I feel like I should still give some criticism. So, yeah, it's a bit inconsistent in some parts. And for a show that has so much slapstick, and I know that sounds weird, but all of this violence that's going on, it's just, to me, it just feels like a more brutal version of what slapstick is, you know. Or, you know, all of these scenes, for a show that has a lot of fighting and all of that, all of action scenes, it doesn't feel like there are a lot of smear frames. You know what smear frames are? Like, you know, if you want to have like something like a character who gives a high five to another character, then there will be a bunch of frames that are like, they look like they're smudged or something, you know, like they're blurred to imitate motion. It feels like in this pilot, instead of using smear frames, It's like they drew every single frame of every single little movement, and that just it just feels like it's more smooth than it should be. It's more smooth than a fucking action-based show should have. Like fucking Tom and Jerry, the grandfather of slapstick. Even though they were, from the times when they were drawn by hand and they had a lot more frames and a lot more detail onto them, they still used a lot of smear frames, and the animations weren't as smooth when it was action time. Here, it's always smooth, yet sometimes it feels a bit clunky. So that's basically, there are several scenes where the perspective of the background and the characters and everything felt like it just came from an animatic. Like, it didn't feel like it was an actual cartoon. For the most part it did, but the inconsistencies just basically, you don't see them until you already watched the pilot, you go to bed, and you wake up at 4 a.m. realizing, fuck. That's how it happened to me, at least. But then, okay, I'm actually kind of kidding. I've kind of seen that in the thing, but I only started questioning it. Okay, so I've seen it while reacting to the thing, but I've only started paying attention to it, like actually thinking about it, when I woke up at 4 a.m. So what's next? So in conclusion, the animation could use a lot of work. Yeah, like a lot of work. Probably work on making the characters stand out a bit. Maybe try to make it a bit more interesting looking for the eye. Maybe use smear frames. For the love of God, please use smear frames in action scenes. And try to be a tiny bit more consistent, I guess. Just tiny bit, because it just felt like even the thickness of lines differed from characters, I feel like. So yeah, animation, in my opinion, is a bit of a con. Now, before we move on to the conclusion, I want to mention a bunch of other stuff, like sound design and voice acting and the songs, because there are 3 songs in the pilot. The first one, Chasing Rainbows, I think it's a cover, I'm not sure. I said it's a cover of Bring Me the Horizon because they have a song that also has rainbows in it. I didn't really think about it, but I think Chasing Rainbows is a cover of some old song, I'm not sure. Maybe it's not, maybe it is, but to me it just feels so generic. The reaction from... I watched a bunch of other reactions, and most of them were just, oh my god, she sings so beautiful. And I agree. Whoever is singing, I feel like it's Charlie, has a good voice. But I don't feel power. It just feels like, quirky girl, ukulele, your average quirky girl videos where they sing with a piano or ukulele. I'm not saying it's bad or you're talented. I just say, in my opinion, it sounds a tiny bit generic. It needs a bit more depth, a bit more character to it. But that's probably because I watch Anthony Fantano and try to take music more seriously than I actually can. Then there's the mid song, I think. Inside of every demon is a rainbow. And no, not every track has rainbow in it. And it's titled... I don't know, I just feel like it starts with this like grand opening, like da-don, da-don, and then it goes a bit of a hip-hop type of thing, da-da-da-da-dun, yo, mama, And that's fine, but then the chorus goes into rock territory, almost like Green Day territory, with some of the background singers going as high as, God, fuck. I broke my voice and can't do high notes anymore. That's what puberty does to you. I swear to God, I'm not that young. Uh, it's good, but in my opinion, I don't know. It just felt like it were different parts connected together. I like bands like MCR, because their songs, especially in the Black Parade, they change a lot. You know, you can feel you feel like there are different parts of a song, like different tempos and etc. But it all feels like it fits. Here, the changes, in my opinion, aren't that big, but they just feel to me a bit wonky, like they were sewed together at the last minute. Same goes with the ending theme. You know, it starts as la 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 la, and then it goes and then la 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 yet again, and then it goes like that several times. Voice acting, I know they didn't have money to cast characters and all that, but the voice acting is good. I enjoyed it. You know, they are either, well, altogether, I feel like everyone who worked on this, no matter how much criticize it or not, it feels like either they're just stupendously talented freelancers, or they are like beginner professionals, because everything just feels so. It feels like it was done by people who know what they're doing, and voice acting is definitely one of the highlights of the show, in my opinion. The tone changes, these ironic notes and all that, you know, and it just feels like these people, you know, there are two types of actors. There are actors that are given a script and a basic description of a character and they voice it, and then there are actors that literally, like, they take off the character's skin and they put it on them and they become the role for a while. And this is what it feels like. This feels like they actually put a lot of work into this. So overall, additional. Okay, I didn't talk about sound design. It's basically what I said in the humor part. They used a lot of, in my opinion, like stock sound effects, which contributed to the humor and the characters, you know, an extension of that sentence I mentioned earlier. But at the same time, it kind of made it feel a bit more generic. It made characters feel less generic, but made everything else feel more generic. Kind of like, yeah, overall, I feel like music, not really that strong. I wouldn't think of myself listening to the soundtrack of this show religiously like I did with the 10 seconds of "We Will Meet Again, We Got in Gravity Falls," or that cancelled Bill Cipher track that never ended up airing. Look at these creatures, not enough features. Do 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 do. You know that one. So yeah, sound effects. Music. Voice acting. Good. Alright, so let's make kind of I guess, a total. So for the pros, we have the concept, the humor, and while I didn't, the voice acting, right? And then for the cons, we have the characters, the animation with the palette, and then we have the basically songs and sound. I'll put it all in one category: sound design, basically, you know. And so we have free and free. You could say I could give it a solid mediocre because it's right in the middle, correct? But I'd give it an additional pro, which I call it, they did it, wow. And it's what I've been referring to for the entire review, that with the limitations they had in financial limitations and creative, actually no, they had full creative freedom, but I guess they didn't have enough skill, that's the problem. And with all of that, they did it. The fact that it's already out and it's not shit, it has problems but it's not total shit, is already something I can respect, and already something that makes it worthy of your attention, in my opinion, if you like animation or anything that is going on YouTube that is creative, I guess. So I'd say personally, if we're looking at a out of 5 mark, the middle would be 3 because 1, 2, and 4, 5. So 3 is the middle one, but because the whole, but knowing the context of how they made this, when, and how much they took, and what they had to go through, I'd lean more towards a 4 out of 5. I gave the show an 8 out of 10 on the stream, but again, my brain wasn't really working at the time. I just kind of gave it a rough score that I think fits, and I also flashed it before the screen because I realized people didn't really understand my opinion. I couldn't connect my opinion to the audience, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just give it a somewhat high score that describes what I think, and I hope that people will understand. Well, people didn't understand, so this is why I'm making this. But it's also good practice to learn how to overall make good content and make better reviews, and for me it's like practice to learn how to make my opinions work and how to make my opinions kind of like make sense, right? So overall, this is it. I give it a... Hold on. Let me just... Okay. So... hold on. Window capture. And I changed the window to Notepad. Like this, right? Okay. Wait, hold on, what's up with that? Oh, okay, hold on. Let's move it up a bit. There we go. Wow, quality! See that right? See that right there? This 4 out of 5. God, this was terrible. Fuck this shit. Oh, I just got a notification from the stream. I wonder what the comment says. I couldn't hear a word you were saying. Okay. Well, oh, it's already close to 3,000 views, so I was right. It gained like a few hundred while I was filming this. Fuck. But yeah, this is my review of Hazbin Hotel pilot. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you understand my opinion a bit better now. If you have any questions, ask them. And I would love to hear your opinion down below in the comments. Thank you so much again. Like and subscribe, I guess. I spent like 10 minutes on the stream asking people to like and subscribe, and it was annoying, so do that if you want. You know, I'm not going to ask you. Do whatever you want, you know. Give a dislike if you want. Type "you mean poopy face" or something, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you later. Bye. Well, what else? I should think of a catchphrase. Oh yeah, sure. Wipe check.